Welcome back to the Rebirth. So, if you're following current events, we've flown through the wormhole, the jump gate rather, and we found a group of Terran miners who have been completely isolated, and they're kind of bitching and moaning and, you know, kind of moaning about YOLO and wanting some help. So here we are giving them help. And this is against the Reavers, who are pretty much the same group of guys, but probably just believe a different something. So the mission we've got, just as we literally undock from meeting their leader, is to come and save them. Apparently they've hijacked one of their freighters, and here it is. So we naturally need to go and escort a group of troops to them. Now, this is part of the game. If you've never played X before, boarding is actually quite a cool part of the game. Boarding, I think, in fact, I can't think of a single game that does boarding as a mechanic in space game fighting at all. In fact, I was going to say well, but actually at all. So if you know any, post in the comments. But it's always been a shame of mine that you can't kind of do this properly. But X kind of gets there because you have the ability to have Marines in your torpedo hold that you can then load into torpedoes and fire into the side of the ship, and they may be able to take control of the ship, yada yada yada. So, but you don't see that happening. So I hope that one day you will be able to. So anyway, pretty easy really. Just kind of killed all the escorts, and then. Yeah, there is a mechanic to taking ships, by the way. We'll look at that probably in a later video, because you actually have to blow the jump drive off, then you have to kill some of the engines, and blah, 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 blah. So it's a pretty cool thing. However, as you can see, this went pretty much swimmingly well, because obviously it's the campaign, and in reward they've actually given me a little freighter, a little transport ship that I can use to start trading on this side of the map. Now, we will look at trading. I think currently trading isn't quite there. We'll probably do it in the next video, because this video is really just about getting up to speed with the events of what's going on. So naturally their trust in me has gone up, and they're looking for us to maybe bring supplies to and from the Stargate, etc. So it's shaping up to be quite a nice little thing. Now, what's interesting, I think, is the fact that, you know, a lot of the time X games don't, well, you know, a system is just a system, a sector, and it's very small. In this game, I'm getting the impression that you can have a system, you then go into a sector, then you go into a zone. So you'll jump through a Stargate, that'll take you to the Stargate, and here we are flying back to the Stargate. And what you then do is you'll jump into Albion Prime, but then there's literally hundreds of different, well, not hundreds, but maybe dozens of subsectors within that system. And this is the bit that they never got right. So, you know, in previous games, and I think they've got it right in this one, because you jump into a capital world, for example, and you would then sort of say, well, is this it? Is this is this all there is? And I think what they've done in this game is make it a lot nicer, because you go through the Stargate into the main staging area, then you can go further into the system. You can actually fly between the sun and the planets and so on. And I'm loving that. And I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, that you get to go to the solar system in this. Don't if you know, don't post in the comments. I don't want to know. I don't want it to be spoiled. But here we go. So obviously there's a bit of a blockade going on. So this is the interesting part of this, is I can't probably, well, I certainly can't start trading between the two yet, because Plutarch are obviously turning out to be the bad guys. They're blockading it, and also there's Reaver ships as well, so, you know, just generally it's not looking too good. But as we jump through the jump gate, we then come back to Albion, so we're kind of back home, lovingly enough. Now, as soon as I got through to this side, I then realized, Plutarch Mining Corporation really hate me now, and so that's bad, because most of the stations, most of the security in this area is Plutarch, so that's a big deal. And I've edited it just for the matter of being concise. I've edited it to the point where you don't see it, because it was just, I was being chased everywhere. And it was quite tough, actually, because, you know, once you run out of boost, you're in trouble. You can turn around and fight, but I don't want to completely disable my standing with them. You know, I want it to be kind of just shoddy, not terrible. So I was generally trying to run away where I could. So the idea was to come back and meet up with that dude, the general dude, and actually just kind of fill him in on what's going on. However, he didn't make the rendezvous. Naturally, he's probably not meant to, but so it then turns out that there's a kind of next generation of story about to kick off. So, you know, I'll let you read that. I'll give you the short of it. Basically, the movement, the Albion movement, have basically been stockpiling and ready for this day to actually fight against Plutarch. And this is pretty much the beginning of it. It's mostly about the fact that Plutarch has kind of been a bit of a clandestine organization. Obviously, they started as a mining corporation, but what they quickly turned into was very much a kind of militia. And if you know anything about history, militias very rarely remain loyal to their initial, kind of start. Their initial, their initial conception is actually completely, out of tune with what they end up being. And it's a little bit like unions, which is a bit of a dangerous topic. But unions also are the same. So labor exchanges, things like that, they all turn into greedy, money-grabbing bastards at the end of it. And that's what's happened here. So Plutarch have really kind of gone to the nth degree with this, because obviously they've been doing slavery and assassinations, which is obviously a bit of a no-no. But obviously with the gate network collapsing, that's why they've done it. And you can't really blame them for it. Really, when you're in that kind of position, you're going to thrust and strive for power to, all in the name of, quote, stability. That's what Hitler said, He said it was all about stabilizing Germany after the First World War, which is obviously really bad. So as with most horrible groups of people, this is this is unfortunately what Plutarch have turned into. So that's a bit of history as to why you should hate them. I know that obviously from Albion Prelude, I think they were the good guys in that for a while. Anyway, long story short, and I think it's quite a cool backstory that really kind of, the Plutarch Corporation was beginning to be the kind of, the moral leader kind of in the area, but now they're turning out to be the bad guys. Anyway, I digress. So as you can see, we're being hit again. So I'm having to leg it. This is pretty much a theme. In the Albion system, when you've obviously crossed Plutarch, you're going to have a bad day. And so here we go. I don't have a choice. I have to kind of defend myself here. So I kind of take on this Plutarch ship. And as you can see, as soon as you start shooting, my rating just goes down and down and down, to the point where, literally they would not even, wee on me if I was on fire. That's how bad it gets. But again, the combat's pretty good. I hope you're appreciating some of this stuff. It's looking pretty good. And here we go. So we actually now find out a bit more about them. And as you can see, they're not the most savoury characters out there. I think this is a kind of an interesting thing. There's a lot of social comment in this. And I think, particularly when you get kind of catastrophes, this is unfortunately what you get. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know how we could ever displace in X. I don't know how you do that, because I don't think you can actually displace a faction, unless you mod it. You couldn't displace them, which obviously is pretty cool, but that gives a bit of a challenge. And I'm curious to see how the game mechanic will handle this, because I'm assuming that what will happen now is a civil war. I'll take the side of the Albion Prelude. What's it called? I keep getting their name. But I'll take their side against Plutarch, and in essence, that should then create quite a nice, set of events. But let's see how it happens. I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of develops from here. I think in terms of the story, because what I can probably guess is that we're going to have to find a way to be able to trade between the two systems. So you see the De Vries system there is the Earth miners, and the other side is the Albion team. And so I've just again cut forward slightly again. What you had to do there was actually deliver a package of information to the net, if you like. You were basically telling the story of what's going on with Albion, and we've just done that. Now I think it was a bug, because I don't remember doing anything. I don't know if I was supposed to destroy a ship or something like that, or just fly to a particular location, but anyway, I did it. And lo and behold, here we go. So I think this is I love the cutscenes in this. I'm really quite impressed with how they've certainly done them. And it is nice to have a bit more story in X, it really is, because again, XTC, XAP, they had none of this. And I think they've done a really good job drawing out a bit more depth. It's funny because sandboxes can become incredibly boring. I'd say EVE Online is suffering a bit from this, because no one really gives much of a monkeys about the backstory, to be honest. And that's a shame. And I think the same was kind of true with XTC and AP, and I think what they've done with this backstory is make it a bit more interesting, to be quite honest with you, because it was pretty dull before. The sandboxes very rarely focus on story as well. There's no progression, you see, so very little changes in a sandbox, whereas these games, I'm getting the impression that actually quite a bit can. You could even potentially take out a faction completely, which again you could only do if you modded the game in the previous versions. So I'm being shot again. And this time I'm deciding not to fight. I'm just going to run. Sometimes, and I think, to be honest, this was the the best thing to do throughout the whole game was just to leg it most of the time. Obviously the information's out, so pretty much a civil war has just begun. If you didn't catch that, that's what just happened. Civil war began, and the Plutarch Corporation are being hit by the Albionists, I'll call them now, because that's pretty much what they've been waiting for all this time. So I think we'll pick this up in the next exciting installment of X Rebirth. And I think we'll certainly look at this, because I tell you what, the game gets bloody hard from now. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please check out our website. There's plenty of stuff on there, and we're certainly writing some stuff about X, Dust, Battlefield 4, you name it, we're writing about it. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.